All right. So do you want me to start?
Yeah.
All right. So Whitebeard, while he's old, is just stated to be able to destroy the world. The One Piece world is at least 2 to 3 times bigger than our planet, meaning he's like multi-planet or large planet, depending on what you want to call it.
Is that in one go? Or is that over
Hmm?
time?
Or it should be over. It should be in one go because when the statement I'm referring to, it's in a data book, and then when we see someone else say it within the manga itself, it's in one attack. He's like, "Oh, this guy has the power to destroy the world," and then he does his world-shattering attack.
Yeah, but can Whitebeard directly do that? Or is that like a hypothetical that they're making because he's able to create earthquakes and, like break Titanic plates?
Well, I don't really think that matters. It's like if you can do it in theory, that doesn't really change the AP of his fruit. Because like, even if like, okay, so when we see his fruit being used, there's like clear indications about how much power or like how it's being used, right? Whenever he does the cracks in the sky, he always does the same like wind up where he crosses his arms and like lets them go, and there's always cracks in the air every time he does that like world destroying move, right? So even if he can only do it in theory, it would still apply to his AP. Maybe not like the area of effect, it should still apply to his AP. You understand?
So you're saying the statement gives credence to the fact that he could most likely destroy the world given his fruit.
Yeah, with his fruit, he can destroy the world, and his hockey skills above that. So it's like he has like a planet busting attack in his arsenal, and then he has hockey that surpasses that casually.
Mm. And do you have reason to believe that that can possibly, like, would you say that he would be, like, he has the speed to react to KCM Naruto? KCM
So we're
2?
moving on from AP. We're moving on from AP.
Yeah, I'll give you AP. I don't think KCM 2 at least has the power to break the world.
All right. So okay. So my character has higher AP. The reason why Whitebeard is faster is because pre-time skip Luffy is dodging light, and then with his gears he can become up to 5 times faster. And then he surpasses this in base post time skip. And then he gets gear 4, which is stated like 3 times above gear 5. Sorry, gear 2. And then you can do 3 times 5 equals 15. And then he surpasses that again in his base form. And then he stacks gear 5 on top of it. And he's still weaker than Whitebeard. Gear 5 being should also be a bare minimum 15 times multiplier. If I remember correctly, when I last did this, it was like 1,900 times the speed of light.
Hold on, say that first part again, because I'm
The
confused
first
of
part,
where the how Gear 5 relates to Prime Whitebeard.
okay. The reason why Gear 5 relates to Prime Whitebeard is because when Kaido is fighting Luffy and he first learns how to use Advanced Conqueror's Haki, he says, "How high can your ceiling go?" And he imagines Prime Whitebeard, which would mean that Prime Whitebeard is above what's his name?
Kaido?
Kaido. Yeah.
Can you show me that scan? Because doesn't it say, aren't those all people that he's like, he finds them as a threat? They aren't. I don't think they're not necessarily above him.
Okay, well, even if they're not above him, right? Finding them to be enough of a threat would imply relativity. So that just puts Whitebeard relative to Gear 5 Luffy, who is, like I said, 1.9 times the speed, 1.9 thousand times the speed of light due to that scale.
Hold on, let me see that scan because I don't think Gear 5 is showing up at that point. I think that's after.
Well, I mean, it's fine. It's okay. Well, Gear 5 doesn't have to show up. If he's asking how high can your ceiling go, and you're saying Whitebeard is like a threat to him, and I said threat means relativity, then Gear 5, who also goes relative with Kaido, should also be on Prime Whitebeard's level. And again, Gear 5 Luffy is 1.9 thousand times the speed of light. You understand?
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around that. So you, your point is that Prime Weather has high AP, being able or being stated to be able to destroy the world due to his fruit, and his speed would scale off of Gear 5 Lucy because it's a threat to Kaido, who is which I'm confused. Where do you get the calculations from?
The calculation? Okay, let me let me start from the very let me start from the very beginning. Hopefully I have these because I hate thinking I have scans, but I don't have them. Like basically, do you remember when Luffy was fighting Foxy with his slow soul beams?
Yeah,
Here. Here's Luffy dodging it midair. Here's Luffy dodging it multiple times. And the slow soul beams are just stated to be particles of light. And we
can you
know
show me that
light
stated?
particles, photons travel at light speed.
Where's that stated?
Ooh. Oh, which part? The photon part?
Yeah, the slow beams move at light speed because they're photons.
Oh, okay, let me. Well, like again, I don't really need to explain that latter half. All I need to do is prove that they're photons, because like Foxy just says it. And once like you get a devil fruit, you usually know what its abilities are. Hmm. I don't have it. Hey, Victor, do you have it? All right, let me just go to the scan center.
Jay already posted it.
Oh. All right, yeah. It says it's an atom that is not yet discovered by the scientists. Anything from life forms to liquid and air. It's
Not lose energy, but the physical loss will decrease dramatically.
Yeah, it says okay, it's at the very bottom. It's at the very bottom. He says after eating the fruit, I gained the power to emit these photons. Photons travel at light speed because they're literally light particles. Understand?
Yeah, but isn't this part at the top where he says it will not lose any energy, but the physical velocity will decrease dramatically? Doesn't that mean it is
Oh, hold on, hold
or
on,
is it
hold on,
talking
hold
about when
on.
it hits?
Yeah, it's talking about whenever it touches something. That's why it's called the slow beams, because when it touches something, it becomes slower. You understand?
Yeah,
All right. Oh yeah, and also okay, and let me calculate this. Luffy should be like 7 times faster or 7.5 times faster than this light. Because the reason being is like VSBW considers like 7.5 times to be a blitz level above, right?
yeah, sure.
Okay, so and then a blitz is like when you basically attack someone multiple times without them reacting. That's basically, I mean, although he isn't attacking the light, that's basically what he's doing. Like Foxy in the second thing I posted, he literally dodges like more than 7 of them, and then he dodges them midair. So it's safe to say that they can't touch him, meaning he's a blitz level above. So that's 7.5 times base Luffy. Sorry, so Luffy at the Long Green Long Land is 7.5 times faster than light, and then he becomes 5 times faster with Gear 2. Want me to prove that?
Yeah, I might as well. Might as well see it.
All right. It's hilarious. I'm sorry, man. This is hilarious. All right, here's some power levels. Uh, okay. As you can see, Rob Lucci has a power level 5 times that of Bluno. And when Luffy uses Gear 2 on Bluno, he says something amongst the lines of, "I created these two techniques to protect my friends," which would, excuse me, which would imply that Luffy is either at Bluno's level or slightly below it, and he needs Gear 2 to defeat someone like Bluno. And then Gear 2 can tag Lucci when he's in his stronger forms, but I don't want to count that, so we'll just say bare minimum Gear 2 is a 5 times Anthem speed. Oh yeah, and let me also clarify. Although this is a strength power level, like the data books just imply that Gear 2 is like a speed amp first, and because he's faster, his attacks now hit harder. So if he becomes like 5 times stronger, it should also apply to his speed. That's
Yeah,
why it
because the whole power is speed times mass, whatever.
yeah, yeah. So and then Luffy surpasses this in base by the time skip happens. Are you fine with that?
Say it again.
Luffy surpasses his previous gear forms in base when time skip happens.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, and then gear 5, it's a 15 times multiplier. Doflamingo says it's 3 times greater than what Luffy was doing beforehand, and he was fighting him in gear 2. 3 times 5 equals 15. Are you fine with
All
that?
right. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And then when Wano starts, I'm not gonna calc anything else. Like the Katakuri fight, I don't really find it interesting. To do that. So when Wano starts in chapter 924, Luffy gets blitzed by base Kaido, but by the time he's on top of the rooftop, he can dodge that same attack from base Kaido, meaning he got 15 times faster in base. And then gear 5 is above gear 4, which is bare minimum 15 times amp. That's where you get 1.9k. Understand?
Got you. And yeah, and you're saying Kaido, Prime Whitebeard would still scale all of this because he's a relative threat to Kaido.
Yeah, and Luffy is also relative to Kaido. So do you understand why Whitebeard wins? Like you said, you already agreed that Naruto's AP can't compare. And then I got Whitebeard to almost 2,000 times the speed of light, meaning that Whitebeard would punch him with like either armament hockey or like swipe his head off with his weird sword or like hit him with the Guruguru no Mi and Naruto dies.
Yeah, I
Understand?
can see that. Yeah, I don't have
All right.
anything.
Favorite. I'm getting a word of advice. Okay. So, okay, the thing about the Whitebeard thing, you can address that by saying, well, when it says destroy the world, it could destroy society because if he destroys the Navy headquarters, who's going to run the Navy? And then that would allow like pirates to take over. That's like one way to destroy the world, quote unquote, in like the Marines' eyes. Because their goal is to stop that from happening, you know?
Right, like changing the interpretation. I got it.
So like, yeah, it could just be island level because if you can take out the island, then therefore he takes on the HQ. Understand?
Yeah.
And then, oh, let me stop the recording by the way. Let me stop.